stuff the last time I checked was in a file and
So,
not allowed me to download any of it, not allowed me to do anything with it. I don't see that stupid shit.
and we're live.
All right. Oh, wait. I'm not recording yet. Hold on.
Okay. That's okay. Nobody's watching yet, so. And nobody will be watching.
I'll be like 3.
Are you sure?
Oh yeah. I have the data tracker right here. Nothing's happened. It's absolutely dead.
Okay, good. Just the way I like it.
All right. Let's see. Now it's recording. So welcome to the American Greed Factory podcast. This is Nathan.
This is Conlon.
Andrew.
Well, it's the first time we've done this in a while. These are become special events.
Tim. I mean, I don't know how much you guys been podcasting recently. If you just got a new computer and stuff like that, so.
Well, we do the other show a lot, but I can't.
Yeah, the Verhoeven. Yeah.
I can't do like 7 hours every weekend. That was starting to get a little much. So, special event.
The Verhoeven effect. It's like because it's structured. It's like you can anticipate how much time it's going to take. Whereas this, we can, and we're having fun doing this, but we can just rip out a 4-hour podcast with no problem sometimes.
And no planning.
And I was adding stuff where it's like, now we're going to talk about F1. We have a movie to talk about, a book of the month, and so now we're back to whatever.
Here we go.
Nathan, do you remember anything about the Seawolf, the last Criterion movie we meant to talk about?
No, I don't. I'm drawing a blank.
Okay. It was a really cool movie by the guy who directed Casablanca. It's like this weird thing where like a guy, he's like wanted for a crime, and so he's like stowing away on a ship, which is the Seawolf. And then there's like some dude who are like, I forget how it was working out, but they basically captured him to be like a deckhand on the ship, and apparently it was like a common thing where it's like, we need an employee, just abduct somebody, put him on the ship, and make him go to work. And they paid him.
Yeah, it's called press ganging.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a real thing. I mean, I don't know if it exists much anymore, but yeah.
Versus good.
Now that you mentioned, this is the one with Edward G. Robinson and
Shanghai, where you just abduct them and just.
Oh, sorry, Andrew. You like cut out like a lot there. At least on my side. Nathan, did you hear Andrew?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Okay.
I said what happened? I said what happened to good old Shanghai, where you don't have to pay him. That's all I said.
Well, then it's illegal. So it's probably, if you give them a wage, it's probably like slightly less illegal.
Hey, there's always new legal ways to invent new slavery. New slavery is a thing. I should just make a shirt. New slavery. I'm on board. And they just have me hogtied and gagged and blindfolded, taken to a fucking ship.
And there's
the drunk. Cutting out.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that was like your connection or if your mic was like cutting out for you or something. I'm not sure, but it seems okay now. So.
CenturyLink internet people, get on board. You can have blinding fast dial-up with the DSL connection.
Deafening fast speed.
Do you like the old days of porn where you had to wait a whole day to download a JPEG? This is your internet.
Welcome to nostalgia.
I just spent 2 days downloading the modem sound so I could play it every time I boot up the internet. I couldn't find Netscape though, so it's kind of not the same.
But no, Nathan, I remember liking the movie. I don't remember any of the details.
Oh, now that I'm reading about it, I remember it was actually their ship. The one guy's a writer, and the one and the one lady's like an ex-con or an escaped convict. She's like a con man, and then they collide with another ship and sink, and they're rescued by the Ghost, which is a seal hunting ship, and the captain is named Wolf Larson.
Oh, okay.
and he's like he's a sadist, but he's like really smart too. Like he knows like all kinds of things about literature and science and stuff, but he's also like just a real nasty guy.
I think he has like some sort of like brain syphilis or something like that. Too.
Yeah, there's some kind of seizure or fit happens to him every so often, and that's when you strike.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a really cool movie because like sometimes it's like, this movie's from like the 30s, it can't be good, or it's probably the 40s or whatever. But it was a really cool movie. So
Yeah,
um,
1941.
okay.
And it's based on a Jack London novel, so I think it was set
Oh.
like turn of the last century. So
Yeah, I think the ship was like the last of the wooden ships, and like they're just kind of like the whole thing is just a dying breed. Everything on the ship is dying.
yeah,
And the doctor was a drunk.
yeah, which is like standard on
Yeah, standard.
things to do, like watch out for the ship's doctor, unless it's like the Navy or something. They're usually like, oh, there's a reason. Like we have plant doctors. Well, we do if there's enough people there, but yeah, they have a plant physician, and you always got to be wary of those guys. Like, yeah, just sign the paper so they can take me to the hospital and get this fixed. Because we had one that was like in the golden age of pills, he was like the king of the pills. It's like, oh, if your back hurt from working, here's a prescription for Vicodin, and it's like, how much do you need? 500 a week? Cool, sounds good. We had one of those guys. He needed to say he lost his medical license. Surprise. But everyone was like, yeah, go see the plant doctor. He'll hook you right up. I said, yeah. I go in there with like wrist pain. I come out with a drug addiction. Awesome. But now my wrist hurts and I'm a drug addict. This is amazing.
Or you come out of there with a new part-time job.
Yeah. Yeah, like write me those prescriptions, please. It's like, how's the medicine doing? It's like, I don't know. I just sell it to these idiots. It's like I'm making more money selling this stuff than I'm working here.
I've killed so many grandparents.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Why did Grandma stop breathing? Because the Vicodin was too sweet. That's what.
And then did anyone finish the F1 season or know what happened there?
Why don't
I
you
just know
tell us? You're into it more. So
what'd you say, Andrew?
I just know it's over. That's all I know.
It started out, it had so much promise in the start of the year, and then by the end of it, it was just Max Verstappen pretty much won everything, and so it ended up being a very boring season. But you didn't know it when you started it, but you didn't know what that was going to end at the beginning. Like almost complete domination. When the only Ferrari and Red Bull won races this entire season. There was only three teams on the podium: Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes. And in a rain race, Lando Norris got the one podium from one other team, and that's all it. So it was just a combination. On the podium was just a combination of Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes the entire year.
yeah.
So no freak wins, nothing like that. So it just ended up being, but Max Verstappen did dominate. The new cars, they can race closer, but because the new regulations, just the Red Bull and Adrian Newey and his team just hit it right out of the park right from the beginning. And the only time they had some reliability issues at the start of the season. And then once they fixed those, they pretty much just had the season wrapped up. Ferrari just kind of fell off. Mercedes did come back, but their new concept just didn't work for the new regulations, so they'll probably just start all over again next year. So who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, it isn't really. I don't know. A lot of shake up. A lot of drivers are gone this year. Weirdly, Haas got rid of Mick Schumacher. I'm not sure why. He didn't seem. I mean, he did wreck the car a lot, and it cost them a lot of money. But I thought he was better than some of the other drivers that got let go. But Mercedes picked him up as a reserve driver, so I don't know. And the last time his dad work for an F1 team. He did work for the Mercedes team. So, also apparently because he was like on the Ferrari, because his dad like won all his championships with Ferrari. He was like on the Ferrari Academy, but I guess the Ferrari Academy doesn't believe in him anymore. So Mercedes have taken him in.
Oh, that's sad.
But he is getting replaced by another German, so he's getting replaced by Nico Hulkenberg.
Oh, okay.
Who he's just kind of who's probably most famous for never getting a podium, but is considered a good driver.
Just never worked. Never came together, huh?
Yeah. He's being paired with Kevin Magnussen, who they also have a famous thing where they were in kind of they end up fighting a lot on tracks like a few years ago, and Nico Hulkenberg went up to him like during an interview, and it's like, "So yeah, nice work out there. You're a real nice guy." And Kevin Magnussen goes, "Suck my balls, mate."
Suck my balls. Nice.
And now they're teammates.
Well, you know, they're not driving the same car or nothing.
Yeah, they're never going to be together on track.
Now, the good news for you, Conlon, is next year, unless the schedule changes, you have 3 opportunities to go to a Formula One race.
I've been priced out of every opportunity, so I will not be going to.
Now, the one in May, it's sponsored by Crypto.com. They might have a change of sponsorship by then.
Okay.
It's the one in Miami.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Lenovo United States Grand Prix, and then you've got the Heineken. It's the Lenovo's in Austin, and the Heineken's in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't know, Andrew, they're having a race in Las Vegas next year where part of the track will be going through the Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah, I think you told me that before, and I kind of forgot about it, not because it wasn't cool, but because I don't know if I'll be around it. I mean, maybe we can organize a viewing party because I kind of want to see how that's going to look. But
yeah, because it's going to be at a weird time. It's going to be like in November at night.
Yep, November 16th to the 18th. At night in the desert when it's and it's very cold at night in the desert. So especially in November.
Yeah, but those cars will be super hot. So.
Oh
yeah. What else? Daniel Ricciardo did such a bad job. I mean, I don't know. He just didn't do it. He was like, compared to Lando Norris, he just did not drive that car well at all. But apparently, but Lando Norris this whole season was complaining about his car. Like, he'd get asked in interviews. It's like, yeah, why couldn't you make that place up? And he's like, you fucking drive the car. It's a brick.
No.
And Lando Norris is usually a very nice guy, and he's just outright insulting the car they gave him. It's like this isn't. No, you don't realize how impossible this is to drive, and I'm doing an awesome job.
Well, because you're talking about the team that's always the last place, right? The blue, it's like a blue and white color scheme because their car doesn't fucking do corners for shit, but it straightaways really well.
Yeah,
Is that different?
I mean, it's usually like how McLaren. I mean, yeah, some of the lesser teams that just go for straightaway speeds, like. And last year, that's how their car was designed, where it's like they could actually, even though they had the same Mercedes engine, like they were faster in straights than Mercedes was, but that doesn't always equate to mean you have a faster car. Like, it's like really the trick of an F1 car is how fast can you take that corner? But it's all track dependent. But, and again, like the racing was close. Like when cars were close, like they would like have back and forth fights, which in the last car design, like that would not happen. Like once a pass is made, that's it. That was the only chance you had. But you had like people coming back, but there's still just a large gap between the people at the front and the people in the midfield. And every team got points this year, so it wasn't some years where like 2 or 3 teams didn't even score points, where it was like that ridiculous. But it's just the front runners are so far ahead. So yeah, Daniel Ricciardo, yeah, he had another year on his contract, and they just bought him out of his contract.
Wow.
So
I heard there might be an American on the field this year.
Oh yeah, Logan Sargent, who races for Williams. So they got rid of Nicholas Latifi, who is the nice Canadian driver whose mom and dad has billions of dollars, and the only reason he was on the team. So Williams, they got bought out by a U.S. like investment serve called Dorlington Capital, and
Okay.
so like Williams isn't necessarily hurt for money, but it doesn't seem like they're throwing a lot of money at them, but they're just not hurting for money like they were when they were actually independent. So like Logan Sargent was in their driver academy. He qualified to get a super license so he can race in F1, which is like they didn't really cover it, but it was a thing down to the last race. Like if he had finished, had he DNF'd that race or not finished in the top 8, he would not have gotten a super license for this the next year. So that was kind of interesting because there was a guy named Nick DeVries. So Alex Albon, he got sick. He was racing for Williams. He got sick, or he had like an appendix burst, and so they replaced him with Nick DeVries for that one race. It was in Italy, and this is the first. And he's been a guy. He's been like he won like the F2 championship a long time ago. He's been in He's been Formula E for like the past like 5 years or so. He's won a championship there. He's been like Mercedes reserve driver the whole time, or a lot of the time. And so basically, because he didn't immediately get an F1, it was like that was your chance, dude. You're just never gonna be an F1. So he got this one chance to drive the car, and he got points on his debut in a Williams. So it was like really amazing. I think he came in 9th, and there was like a wreck towards the end of the race, and so he probably would have got past had the wreck not happened. And so it was just an amazing thing. It was like, here's your one chance. He scored points at Williams, and immediately he got almost immediately he got signed to AlphaTauri. So I think Williams like, hey, we should get this guy, but then AlphaTauri picked him up because Pierre Gasly is going to Alpine, the French team, and he's French. So now they're having a whole French lineup.
Okay.
And apparently also
kind of like Mercedes has a whole British lineup.
Yeah. I heard there was a weird thing. It's like there's something with Ferrari. It was a story about Ferrari. It's like, why doesn't Ferrari have Italian drivers? And apparently, like I think it was like some quote from Enzo Ferrari is like, we don't like when we kill Italian citizens in our Italian cars. We don't mind killing other countrymen in our cars.
Yeah, that's the right idea. It's like carry the flag, but don't be a citizen.
So I got Alpine. You got Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon, who apparently used to be friends when they were children, and then something happened, and their families are like warring at each other. So,
the old country feuds. Things go back hundreds of years that involve people with swords.
Yeah. So this is like the French Yellowstone.
Yeah. Cool.
And then I can't remember his name. So yeah, the guy who won the F2 championship last year, he was the Alpine reserve driver this year, and then McLaren made a deal where they signed him up away from Alpine, and like it went to court. It was like, no, you can't do that. And then so now that dude is going to be driving for McLaren next year instead of Daniel Ricciardo. So that's why they bought out his contract to get this guy in.
Okay.
And then Sebastian Vettel retired, which is kind of sad because he's a great fun driver who has this whole turn as like with social consciousness and stuff like that. Like he has this whole thing about like saving the bees and trees and all that stuff. It just became so now he left the sport, and then Fernando Alonso left Alpine, and now he's going to be driving for Aston Martin, which Aston Martin had an interesting like kind of swing this year because they started the year terrible, and then they ended up like a pretty good midfield team, which was super surprising because it seemed like they were going nowhere the whole year. But they did do upgrades and improve the car, and then scored several. They almost like at one point they were just scoring every race. Like it was in like 9. It was like 8 through 10, but that's still points. So.
Yeah, I hear next year they're scrambling. That was it. Their 4th race was supposed to be in Russia, and now they have we don't know where our
Oh
fourth
no,
race is
it
gonna
was
be.
it was China. They got rid of the China race next year.
Oh, I thought it was a
No,
Russia race.
no,
Okay.
they canceled this year's Russia race, and like there's no plans to ever go there again. So, but no, next year they had China on the docket, and they canceled that because of their COVID restrictions.
Oh, okay.
Which apparently, like, I don't know. Apparently now it's getting out. COVID's really bad in China. It's like, oh no shit, huh?
Well, I mean, their vaccines are terrible. I mean,
Oh,
that's
okay.
they won't admit that, but it's like ours. You had to move around the country in refrigerated, not even refrigerated, freezer trucks. Now that's the United States with massive infrastructure and all kinds of semi trucks and stuff. Now imagine China with 4 times as many people, and how many refrigerator trucks do you think they have to move that vaccine around? And considering a lot of that vaccine was based on hacking into computers and stuff, it's like, yeah, it probably wasn't any good. And now that they, because what's killing them is that, I don't know, what's the Omicron? It's the
I
Omicron
don't.
stuff that was
Yeah.
here. It's like, yeah, that's what's killing everyone in China. But then you ask them about it, and they're like, no, it's bad, not that bad. And then the next day, like, yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah,
And then
that's
no, it's not that bad again.
Well, I remember I was like doing the Johns Hopkins like COVID tracker, and it's like and like and they're just using the data they're given. So of course it's like, how is there like millions of dead Americans, and then like China, it's like, oh, only 100 people are dead. It's like, that seems impossible.
Yeah.
Guess what? It was.
Yeah. I mean that's what I've heard like experts say for like a year is like, oh, the Chinese vaccines are really bad and they're not effective and they didn't store and transport them right and they just made sure everyone got a shot. And there's a huge underground economy there and not getting a shot but having the paperwork that says you have the shot. And when you have all that, because nobody trusts the government there, it's like, I wonder why. And yeah, so they have all kinds of different problems, and they
Man.
always have.
But yeah, it's like pretty sure the China race is just preemptively canceled. They might go back to Qatar.
Okay.
Because I know they have a race, or they might already have a race set up there. I'm not sure.
I got one in Bahrain.
Yeah, they
One in
always go
Saudi
there.
Arabia.
But they had like Qatar, like French or French hit, pinch hit like 1 year. So because but it was like their MotoGP track that they used, which was hilarious because the stands at that track is just it looks like the stands for a minor league baseball game. Like it just is like these stands could hold 80 people, and there's only
How much
40
for those
here.
tickets? Yeah, they are going to Qatar in October of next year.
Okay, but I know they're not using that MotoGP track anymore. They have a purpose built or not purpose built. They have a what do you call it, a city track built for it. So a street track. That's it.
Have you ever been to India?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
One of the most famous things I know of in India is 1 year when Sebastian Vettel won the championship. He won it in India, and he did donuts at the after the race and got out of his car and he knelt and prayed to his car.
Nice. Okay.
That's how you can do it, I guess.
Although it's also very visually different because I don't know if like that's just how India is or if it's like, is this place really fucking dirty? Because man, it was just, you were like looking through a film of filth to watch that race. It was like, what's going on here?
Well, as you know from my favorite YouTube videos, they don't seem to have like a lot of laws in India. It's like rebuild batteries in your garage. Just take the old battery apart, go melt it down, reform it, go buy the chemicals, pour it in, new battery. So yeah, imagine like 100 million people doing that every day. It's the air's going to get a little filmy. It's
I think they might go back to, well, actually they never went there. They built a track, or I think it was a street track in Vietnam, and they never used it because of COVID, and so they might go there as a replacement. They also have, there's also a track they used to go to in Africa called Kailami, I believe is the name of the track, in South Africa, and they also might go there.
okay.
but I'm not sure if any of those tracks meet the FIA standards quite yet. They could always put the money in to do that, but the FIA doesn't seem to like to do that. It's like, no, we like when the venues pay us $1 billion to come there and race.
Yeah, that's kind of their business model. Well, remember the Indianapolis 500 disaster, right?
Yeah.
That was, yeah. It's like, yeah, you can come here. It's like, no, we're not changing anything.
Oh, I mean, well, that was the whole tire. That was something with the tires.
Yeah.
At the time, but technically the Indianapolis 500 is at least they can change the track layout to be like a more of a not just the big oval. It'll be more of like a just a regular racetrack, which is with more turns. It'll cut into the inside track, and there's a lot more lefts and rights rather than just a big oval. So, but it is rated by the FIA, so they can host Formula One races there, but they just haven't in a really long time. So.
Yeah.
Because that would be cool to me, because that's a race I could make. Because every race we have in the United States is basically, it's like, that's a 7 or 8 hour drive. It's like, hey, it's nice that we have 3 races in America. That's cool. It's like, it's still stupid far away for every one of them for me. So
yeah, this country's too big.
Yeah, that's where people people complain about, because it's a lot of European fans. Like, there's too many races in America. It's like, sir, you don't know how large America is.
Yeah, there's actually 4 distinct regions in this country where people don't really, except they use the same money and ostensibly all speak English. It's like they don't really understand each other very, very well. There's the East Coast, the West Coast, the Midwest, and the South, and those are all like unique cultural regions.
Yeah, well, it's like every race in Europe. It's like it's a 2-hour train ride away. Like, if you're a European F1 fan, you can go to every race, like, no problem. Using public transportation, you can't fucking do that in America.
Yeah, you got to charter a plane.
That's why we need another civil war. We need everybody to have their own distinct graphical regions and countries, so they're forced to get along together and work together.
Yeah, that'll.
Otherwise, they can't use the same excuse of, I can't trust him. He's from Missouri. I mean, that's basically how we operate now. So why the fuck? I mean, just every fucking state has that same trope where it's like, he's from Missouri. He's a piece of shit. It's like, maybe he is, maybe he isn't.
Yeah, that's just been the brainwashing of America to turn everything into a sports analogy. It's like, this is my team.
Now, Michigan and Ohio have an interesting relationship, because I think they're one of the few states outside of the Civil War that fought an interstate war over Toledo. Like, they actually fought each other over Toledo. And the reason the capital of Michigan is not Detroit anymore was because during the War of 1812, they figured out, oh, Detroit's really easily invadable by Canada. That's why they moved it to the other side of the state, because it's like, they can't invade as effectively there. And it's like, oh boy, this is weird. But yeah, Ohio and Michigan like genuinely hate each other. It's more of a football rivalry now, but there was actually a war over Toledo. Fought not outside of the Civil War or anything else. It was, and I don't know, not much of a war. It's not like there's 100,000 dead or anything. It was people shooting each other though. Then we gave them Toledo, and I think with all the dead cities in Michigan, we came out ahead. But now Ohio has this massive inferiority complex because it's a larger state than Michigan, but it's also a much poorer state. Because that's where Ohio was, where they were just running out of places to put corpses when the pills and dope were really bad. It's like, we don't have anywhere. We got to bring in trucks with, refrigerator trucks, because so many people are ODing every day. And we have that here, but we don't. Seems like Ohio, it was like a state thing. Like, everyone, here's your methadone, or what's the crap that's killing everyone? Fentanyl. Here's your fentanyl.
I was like, methadone is shit.
Yeah, I can't think. I can't keep all the drugs straight.
No, you're fine. I was like, I'm supposed to help treat drugs. What the hell?
All right, Andrew,
No,
we have like interstate rivalry stuff, and Andrew, you probably get this because you're like an Iowa State fan. There's people like you wear an Iowa State shirt, and then someone will like shake their head at you, and I'm always just like, "What is this dumb bullshit?"
no, it's the same thing. We had the same discussion that Michigan State game where a player is going to jail now for assaulting somebody with his fucking helmet and shit. And I was like, what a dumb reason to go to jail. I went to this school for 4 years. I had to defend its honor.
Yeah.
I paid to go there too. It's like, yeah, it's a dumb fucking reason. You're there for 4 years and never welcome back again. You can't go back. It's like, what a dumb fucking reason to kill somebody or fucking try and kill somebody. Yeah, I agree. It's a lot of fucking. Usually, I'm just like, yeah, I don't give it. I mean, I'd like Iowa State to win more than Iowa, but I don't really give a shit if Iowa wins or not.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's just.
But
fucking
you'll see people like if you're wearing an Iowa State shirt, they'll like shake your head at you, and it's like, you traitor, like what are you doing? It's like I'm wearing a shirt. It's a football game. Who gives a shit?
All that and just generally anymore, I figure people just shake their head because they don't agree with the way I dress in general. But yeah, who knows?
But anyway, so that whole mentality has been transferred to the political landscape, and it's done nothing but terrible things to this country.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my favorite football loyalty was the Penn State Nittany Lions. Like when it came out that like the coaches on that team, Joe Paterno obviously wasn't participating in that, but it's like they all seemed to know there was some kind of pedophile ring in their football management program. And the people on campus went nuts when they wanted to tear down his statue and stuff. It's like, wait a minute, guys, this guy like turned a blind eye to a pedophile ring. I think at this point we can like stop, chain myself to the statue. And it's like, oh my God. Yeah. Pick your allegiance, I guess. I don't know.
Well, yeah, there's just dumb shit like that where you shouldn't defend people for heinous crimes just because they're a sports icon. Or yeah, I guess maybe Joe Paterno created enough jobs. It was like, it's killing our economy to process this pedophile guy. I don't know.
Well, like I said, he wasn't involved in it, but there was pretty good evidence that he like knew something untoward was going on. And that guy had a massive amount of clout. He could have easily said, hey, we need to look into this and come forward and champion the investigationist, but he would just rather not deal with it. It's like, oh, he could have gone out on top. Like, yeah, this is unacceptable. We can't do this. He had that kind of clout, but instead he was like, let's just not talk about it. Let's just keep putting trophies in the case. And who cares if 12-year-olds
or he was so old that when they told him that he just couldn't believe that would actually be happening, so he just didn't believe it and did nothing about it. People don't do that. Like, I hired that guy. He wouldn't do that.
I mean, I kind of come from the same school of thought. Like when I hear that, I was like, people really do that? Like, what is wrong with? Why would you do that? I mean, is there any money in it? What are you doing? This, even if there's money in it, that's like the worst thing you can do. That's why when they say, like, when they have,
like, but how much money though?
Well, yeah, I mean, but like when they talk about like all the deep conspiracies that have ruled this country for the last 5 years about basically everyone in Hollywood or who's a Democrat is some kind of like baby sacrificing satanic pedophile. It's like, man, that is just next level weird. Like there can't be that many people involved in that. I'm sure there's someone, but it's just like, this can't be like a globe spanning conspiracy. It just seems too like, that's a lot of extra effort for what? You're already a senator. You already have ties to all the levers of power and money in this country. Why do you need to throw satanic sacrifice on top? It seems like just the extra step.
What kind of bet are they hedging there?
Yeah. Yeah, because anyone who's like read anything always knows when the devil comes to you and makes a deal, you're always going to come out on the bottom. I mean, if Satan appeared right now and said, Nathan, you could have all this money, I'd be like, no, because I know I'm going to end up in hell or something. Just go away. I know you're not an honest broker, Satan. Now, if you could be an honest broker and we could find a way to hedge our bets here, and I still might slide through without eternal damnation, then maybe. But that's not how it works. I've read the book, dude. It's like, I know how it works.
It's the best-selling fiction book for thousands of years.
Oh yeah, greatest greatest weapon for truth in mankind's arsenal of logic.
Well,
Iron,
because
Iron Age philosophy.
there's a fucking like a bar graph showing like the most profitable franchises of all time. Like basically, like Pokemon was the top of like so many trillions of dollars or whatever for merchandising, films, all this other bullshit. And I was like, where would Christianity be on here? Like,
Right
where
behind
would
Islam.
Yeah, because I was like, if you really wanted to be like, yeah, what trademark property, what universe could you make the most money off of? I'm like, I'm gonna say Christianity, but at the same
That'd be
time,
cool if like Christianity just incorporated in America and they just had like just officially they were in it for profit, no nonprofit tax exemption anymore. They were just pushing it and it was part of like the Jesus film universe. But you brought in actually Hollywood directors and good writers and it's like we're going to make these stories cool, and it just made Christianity super violent and insane because that's all they would focus on, because that would put asses in seats in the theaters. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, the business model for a church, is kind of interesting. Like, give us this money to try to like stave off your eternal damnation. It's like, what product are you going to deliver? It's like, is there any guarantees? Like, nope.
yeah. Yeah, the only one passing out contracts here is Satan, and we know what that's all about. So come on, Christianity, pick up the ball. It's yours. It's there. Pick it up. Run with it. But
I want to run on fat. Oh, that works.
So I've been playing a game. I've been playing High on Life.
Okay.
Which is a game where aliens capture other aliens, including humans, and then turn them into drugs and inhale them, and thus killing them. So thus, High on Life.
Nice. Good concept.
It's by Justin Roiland's game studio called Squanch Games. So this is like what half of the Rick and Morty team. So he does the voice of Rick and Morty, so it's that guy,
Okay.
And again, he's doing basically just his Rick and Morty voice because he only has 2 voices.
Yeah. It's the luckiest voice actor in history. Well, what can you do? Either Rick or Morty. Here's $1 billion. Thank you.
There's some, I mean, it's a comedy game, which is kind of weird. So like it does do the weird thing where it's like it's comedies, it's like self-referential, where it just points out, like if the game does something bad, it just points it out as a joke, but it doesn't fix anything. It's just like, this is bad, right? It's like, isn't that funny? But there is some genuinely like clever things. So the aliens are called Gatlians, or one of the aliens. The guns talk to you. They have faces that point back at you, and they talk to you the whole time. They're called Gatlians. And like, there's some fun stuff where there's like where you like aim down sights, and so when you aim down sight, you're like pulling up. Oh yeah, this thing. Oh yeah. No,
Oh
yeah. You'll like hold the alien close to do aim down sights, but it's funny because you're basically just like really close face to face with the alien gun, and then it's like whispering to you. It's like, you're doing a really good job. As you shoot
encouragement gun is always important.
There's some fun stuff like that. There's some like crazy extras because they license a bunch of movies for this game to just play in the game. So they have like Tammy and the T-Rex. I don't know if you know what that movie is, Nathan, but it's like it has it starred Denise Richards and who's the Fast and the Furious guy that died? Paul Walker. Paul Walker plays a character who's like gets like in a coma, and then they put his brain in a T-Rex, and it's Tammy and the T-Rex.
Nice. I've actually never seen that.
And then there's another thing. There's like locations you can unlock, and you can unlock a movie studio where the movie studios are a movie theater. In the movie theater, it's playing a movie called Demon Wind, which is just some low budget horror movie. And there's 3 aliens in there, and you can sit down, and it's MST3K, and they got the guys from Red Letter Media to do a commentary, and you can listen to the whole commentary. You just sit there and listen to the whole commentary and watch Demon win with the guys from Red Letter Media.
That's fun, actually.
It's on Game Pass. I think it's pretty fun for what it is. It's still stupid, but I've been having fun with it. So apparently it's been wildly successful for them. Also, apparently it was also a canceled Stadia game. Nathan, do you know what Stadia is?
No, I don't. It sounds familiar.
It was Google's attempt to do streaming games where like you didn't have to buy a console, you could just stream all your games. Like
Yes, now I remember. Okay, it was a big success too, right?
Oh, they dropped it, and they refunded everybody who ever bought a Stadia thing, which means billions of dollars. They just
Wow, I
gave
was
back
going to
to
say they've just set up a company to refund everybody.
Yeah, so like so when you bought a Stadia thing, it came with a controller and a Chromecast, and and all the games they bought, they paid back everybody for all that stuff. Even if they bought the controller and the Chromecast, they paid money back for that. So now people have a free controller and Chromecast.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know. I know it failed. I didn't know it failed. That's like dropping a corpse off of a 100-story building failure there.
Spectacular failure. Which Google does that all the time, where it's like, oh, here's this cool thing. Like, are you going to support it? It's like, if it makes money.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, it's gone.
Well, I mean, Amazon supposedly had a service similar that worked way better than Stadia's ever did as well. And I mean, Stadia, it was poorly implemented and didn't have enough library to back it up, and there's too much competition in gaming.
Well, had they created...
Well,
I think people didn't like the idea of like you're just subscribing to the streaming service and then you have to buy the games on top of it. Had they made something similar to Game Pass, it probably would have survived. But the fact that you had to like pay a monthly fee for a service and then also buy the games on top of that, I think that immediately put people off. So
yeah, that's not value add.
But with Game Pass, technically there's a bunch of games you can stream on Game Pass, so Game Pass does have that. Although I find the lag on it on most games to be too annoying. It's like, nah, I got to a point where I could get it where I could literally play Halo on my cell phone streaming, and that was cool, but I would never want to play Halo that way.
Yeah.
But it was neat that I could do it. That's High on Life. And then we're going to talk about Smile. Andrew, have you seen Smile?
I've heard about it. My wife said she would never watch it in a million years, so I haven't watched it yet. Supposedly it has really good reviews, and it was better than it was supposed to be for a schlock piece of shit horror movie, but at the same time, I mean...
I don't know, it's like, I don't know, like... I think Nathan saw this first, and he was thinking about doing it for Verhoeven Effect, and then I just watched it on my own because it got to like Paramount, and I have a subscription to that. So I just watch this.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just a horror movie where it's like a creepy smile is the medium to which a curse is implemented, and then people die under a ticking time clock, essentially. So it does almost nothing original because that's
the Ring.
That's the Ring. There's others like millions of other movies where that's the thing, but it is interesting that the creepy smile is like the vector in which this is delivered.
And it's Kevin Bacon's daughter's the main character, which I didn't know he had a daughter that was an actress, and she did a good job with it.
Just nepotism of Hollywood. They can't cast it.
I can't cast any stones about anything involving nepotism or favoritism when it comes to getting jobs. When people are like, "This is a crime," I'm just like, "That's terrible. It shouldn't happen." You're right. I can't believe this is going on. Go fight, win. Do it without me.
But yeah, there is some interesting stuff you can apply to it, which I mean, pretty much this is every horror movie because essentially you could construe it as a horror movie about like generational trauma, and suicide and like with mental health and stuff like that. Because it is interesting to see this term where it's like this main character who is like a psychologist, and then it's like and you see her like reacting to somebody who's like seeing something that's not there, and then eventually she starts seeing things that aren't there, and she's like, "Fuck! How do I explain this to people and not sound like a crazy person?" It's like you can't.
Yeah, it's a fairly it's an interesting film for what it was. I mean, it's not, again, it didn't, like you said, it didn't revolutionize horror. The thing I like about like movies like The Ring was, number one, like great weird filming and just kind of an atmosphere of foreboding. One thing I learned from The Ring is like, wow, the Pacific Northwest is a real depressing place normally to live, and let alone when you got monsters chasing you. And I only liked the first one. I didn't care for the rest of them.
Yeah.
First one was cool. This kind of did the same thing. It wasn't as clear with like the rules of what was going on. Like The Ring, you knew it's like 3 days. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
this was kind of like, huh.
Well, the ending's super weird, and just like, well, I guess that's how these things end. Like nobody wins except for evil. But I could definitely see if like they done a sequel, like you can bring the cast back because they've already proven within the movie that just because you see something doesn't mean it actually happened or it's real.
Yeah.
So I was like coming up with ideas where it's like, okay, what if you made a Smile too, but like you're trying to do like the Aliens version of Smile. You know, at some point, you know, she's fighting the monster and it's like, get away from here, you bitch. But, you know, Smile too.
Well, how about like the cop tells
actually just call it Smiles. Do the full
Smiles.
Aliens.
Yeah. Plural. Oh. All right. Well, let's use this time to reset the call.
All right.
And see
I'll
that.
call you back.
All right.
All right.
So I'll just give you that.
Well, we're still going out, so
yeah. There we go.
Oh damn! I lost the race, son of a bitch. Never the first girl with an invite. Oh, son of a... No, we can talk about the movie I saw in theaters that probably got my wife COVID.
What's that?
Avatar?
Violent Night.
Oh, okay.
That's the one with Santa Claus.
Yeah, the Die Hard love letter Santa Claus movie. I can't remember. Oh yeah, Home Alone was the other influence. That's right. I was trying to think. Well, what the fuck?
I mean, Home Alone is just basically Die Hard for kids. So, but you know, really, Die Hard is just Die Hard for kids.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was a pretty good fucking movie. There's quite a few really good kill scenes in it, and quite a few good jokes. Like David Harbour is definitely the best thing about that movie. What's his face? God damn it, the main villain.
John Leguizamo's in it. I know that.
Yeah, John Leguizamo. Yeah, I find him better in small doses, and they did that really well. They didn't like over put him on screen all the time. Let all the other little baddies run around, kind of having screen time too. So, but there's only one survivor from the whole bad squad. But at the same time, there was this one scene that was kind of unbelievable, just because it was like David Harbour like cornering a barn, and it has like this basically like high tech SWAT team going in to kill him. They have like infrared vision. They're all mic'd up. They all got night vision goggles on and shit. And he doesn't have anything. He eventually finds like a sledgehammer that's beat up in there, and he basically is an old Viking that used to kill people and raid villages and rape women and stuff like that. No one says why he became Santa off of that. But it's at the same
you got to
time,
pivot as the market changes.
But so he's like, oh, cool. It's like,
as the Viking gods died, the Christian gods rose in their place, and he joined on board. It's really the story of God of War, just brought to Christmas.
But like he basically, it looks, because like all these guys coming on jet skis, it looks like there's maybe at most 20 of them, and the guys that go with the main squad in the house, and the other ones go to kill him in the bars. There's like max 15 guys. He must have killed like 80 or 90 guys in the fucking barn. and like they're not displaying any type of military training whatsoever. They're just being beaten to death with a sledgehammer, or just like impaled with a pitchfork and shit like that. And it's like, I don't know about this. That was the only bad action scene in it. Other than that, it was all pretty realistic and halfway reasonable.
I
about
mean, it's
what
a
might
comedy
happen in
action
this
movie, so I figure you can get away with
situation.
bad action.
Oh, I know, but at the same time, I knew where it was going. It's the same action movie trope of like, look at him mow down like 800 guys in the same room with not even breaking a sweat. Like, look at that shit. But I don't. There is one reviewer that had like a negative thing to say about it. How he was like, "Oh yeah, you don't really like or bond with any of the characters, including Santa Claus in the movie in the first like hour. Everybody's kind of unlikable and kind of a piece of shit."
Hmm.
And I was watching the movie and that got done. I'm like, the parents of shit. Apparently, just because they're a family that's going through a rough time and a girl, is that why they're unlikable? I'm not sure what the fuck that's about. But yeah, that's the only newish movie I've seen. Otherwise, I did watch a couple ones I hadn't caught when they came out in theaters on Hulu recently when I've been sleeping on the couch, but nothing too exciting with those.
I saw Prey. That was really good. That was one of those
Yeah,
Hulu movies.
that was a good movie.
I haven't seen that one. I watched 1899, the series.
Oh, I watched the first episode. Have you just finished?
Yeah, I just finished it.
Oh, okay.
It's I mean, it's like Dark. It requires a lot of patience and paying attention. I kind of like tapped out about halfway through and then came back to finish it because it's one of those things like, there's things I watch to do other things in the background, but that's not none of those are
No,
back.
you have to
shows
pay
you
attention to
gotta
the
watch.
movie.
I can't build tracks and paint while that's going on. So then I find other things to watch and then I come back to that. But yeah, it wasn't bad.
Doing the Verhoeven effect would give us an appreciation for like middling to bad movies. It's like these are things exist because they just like to have them on the background. They don't really require your attention.
Yeah, I can build tiger tracks while I'm talking about watching these. Sometimes I do have to pay attention though on those. Like the last one we did is like, what just happened?
Yeah. Well, yeah, with Verhoeven effect, we're actually paying. Yeah, I'm writing notes, paying attention to movies I normally would not. But it's like, it's just why like a lot of my list of things I've seen just ends up with a lot of crap because it's easier to throw crap on than is like, no, this is important. I have to save time for this, and I just never save time for the important stuff. So it's all crap. I watched all of Wednesday, the new Wednesday Addams Netflix series.
Okay.
Yeah, me and Stacy watched about half of that, and we'll probably finish it.
What's that, Andrew?
Everybody seems to think it's pretty good. I've all heard like good things about it. I don't have Netflix anymore, so I can't watch it. But,
okay. It's fun, but like it's also I could see it being easily hateable. So I did think it's kind of interesting that like Tim Burton did direct like 6 of the episodes, so it's like I wouldn't expect him to. I thought he was just gonna slap a producer credit on here, but he did direct a bunch of it. But the like the girl that plays Wednesday, she's really good at it, and I thought, and I completely I didn't realize that Morticia Addams was Catherine Zeta-Jones. I thought they hired like the mom from Modern Family. I was like, oh no, it's
Sofia Vergara.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, it's a different lady with big boobs that they put in white makeup.
Yeah, this is Catherine Zeta-Jones, but you don't recognize her because she looks like a corpse. It looks like she's had all her blood drained from her body. It's like, yeah, that is Catherine Zeta-Jones, who is like from Spain, I think. And it's like they definitely made her look different.
Well, I mean, usually she was very pale complexion for Morticia. Yeah, that's her name. I was trying to think of the character name. I'm like, God damn it, I know it. But at the same time, like I know that Gomez is played by a pretty prevalent actor, like he was on Community and stuff like that. It's just kind of a joke that he went there or whatever, but he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah, it's
weird.
Yeah. It's I don't know why I don't have my name on the top of my head, but
yeah, you've seen him.
Come on. Yeah, well, they also throw Gwendolyn Christie in there, yeah, just because. All right, Control F, Gomez, Luis Guzman. Yeah, so he
Yeah.
plays Gomez Adam, which I know some people were like angry about. It's like the dude's name is Gomez. Like, why can't he be Hispanic?
That's not how we do things around here.
But yeah,
I always thought the whole family was like, even in like earlier iterations, I always thought that's like, oh, they're like, but the thing was like, they look and act like they're from Spain, but they're actually, but their last name's Adams, and it's like, yeah, there's a whole thing behind that.
yeah.
But I mean, that was a cartoon like from, oh, it goes back to like the 30s.
Yeah.
Like that was just a drawn. It was kind of like the early Far Side, and then it became like live action and stuff. Yeah, Charles Adams, 1938, 1964 is how long that ran. And they're kind of funny. They're weird, especially the older ones.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, it's fun for what it is. Like I said, easily, if understandable if you completely hate it, because it is basically a show meant for teenagers, and it's also kind of weird that they're trying to do like a Harry Potter thing with Wednesday Addams, which doesn't make sense necessarily, but like it works fine for the show. It's just like, we need monsters and stuff here, and like nothing makes sense. You just gotta go along for the ride.
yeah.
But I just like put that on and watched it while I was playing Fortnite, because now I'm playing Fortnite because they added the no build mode, which just makes it way easier to to play it.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like, now it's just a standard ass like battle royale game, but but they're weird. All the weird licensing stuff is just crazy. It's like, here's Goku fighting John Cena with machine guns.
Yeah, that would be fucking weird.
But yeah, they have like, but it's not just like a battle royale. They have like little like, you can like earn money or currency to get like different like costumes and stuff like that by like completing little challenges like within every game you play. Or there's like some stuff where it's like, shoot people while sliding and stuff like that. And so it is like a fun way to like just keep coming back and doing the dailies or whatever, just to open up even more stupid stuff and things like that. Have stupid. Yeah, I have got the Spider Gwen outfit, and then I can have her like play a saxophone solo while shooting people.
Just having Spider Woman Spider Gwen, handling a gun makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
I mean, just like having Pinocchio with like a fucking machete in there.
Here's a superhero. Can you use their powers? No, but here's a gun, sir.
Guns are really the only superpower, kid.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, I get it. It's probably like, it's the flavor of the month for like the last 5 or 6 years, 10 years now.
Oh yeah, that game is huge. They make up like $1 billion a month on that game. It's like practically a new platform now, where it's like you get your news, or they'll have like music concerts inside Fortnite, and from I'm just old. I was like, this seems like a stupid way to experience, but it's like apparently like artists from all over the world are like clamoring, like, get me in the game, like put me in a music video in the game, and it'll just like make them money somehow, just because so many people play this game. Because you can play Fortnite on your phone, so they have hundreds of millions of people that play Fortnite. Which sometimes it's like, especially if you start Fortnite's really fun if you've never played it right now, because they'll pitch you against, because there's so many people playing it, they'll pitch you against people that are terrible at it, and bots too. And so you'll just like, because I remember like the first 8 games I played, like I won every one of them. It's like, oh, this seems impossible. Like they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know the only way I'm gonna play this is if I win. Otherwise, I won't get into it.
Yeah, every once in a while, it just seems like the last game I played, like some guy was headshotting me doing like a 360 off a cloud, and now I have like 3 people just like bobbing and weaving, and I'm standing still and they can't even hit me, and I'm just killing them immediately. It's like, okay, they put me in a comeback game where I'm like almost guaranteed to win.
Get your get your head on straight again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I think
Games,
people realize
Epic
that-
Games has created 9 billionaires out of that.
And they just relaunched it because now they have I can't remember what engine we're on. It might be Unreal Engine 5. They basically re-released the whole game. They remade it in Unreal Engine 5, and it's technically the first Unreal Engine 5 game. Well, I guess there was a Matrix demo they did with Unreal Engine 5 where you could technically play it, but it wasn't. It was cool to look at, but it was terrible to experience. It wasn't a game, but so yeah, it's the first Unreal 5 game. Is just them redoing Fortnite. So.
Well, yeah, Epic's one of those weird companies too, where they can't raise capital in America because they're partially owned by a Chinese company,
Yeah,
and
they're owned by Tencent.
And the banks will just like not do business with them. So yeah,
I don't know.
like,
Tencent owns like I don't know, almost close to her name. Tencent like owns like 10% of almost every company.
Oh, okay. Well, I know like Epic and like it had something to do with like the player lists and information and stuff. It's like
yeah.
I know that there's like the U.S. government's going to start cracking down.
Well, yeah, they just in that new bill they did put in a thing where it's like no government computers or phone or whatever can have TikTok on it. So
yeah, which doesn't like sound radical to me because like they shouldn't ever have TikTok on them because you're supposed to be at work. It's not
no, that's not how it
TikToking
works.
at work. Well, at least what I'm see my work involves like driving machinery and stuff. So there's no like TikTok in my life at work. When I hear like, oh no, they're banning it from government computers and phones, it's like you can't have that on stuff at work anyway, can you? But see, I have different ideas about what work. When I hear work, I'm always think, well, we got to stock blocks, not we're doing paperwork or something.
I mean, TikTok is like a big platform that can reach out to people where it's like that could be something for government purposes, but the iffiness with their data and being controlled by China is where it's why I've never used it.
Yeah, I've never done that. I stopped at YouTube is when my cerebral development stopped. I don't go much further than YouTube and I just watch things passively on there. Anything I put out is because of you. I'm not actively participating in YouTube. But yeah.
The thing I've been delving on YouTube lately, I've been watching a lot of the tested Adam Savage one day builds.
Yeah.
Which are great because I've fallen off watching that stuff like a long time ago. So I've like now have like 5 years of those I can watch.
Yeah.
Because some of the early ones were kind of they're neat, but they're lame. It's like, here's how to make a Nerf gun look into like a cool real future gun. And that's cool, but I'm never going to do that. And then like the bunch of the ones he did during COVID is him like building like little shelving units. He made like this soldering thing that was like a portable soldering thing. He took a wired porta bandsaw and he turned it into like a mini bandsaw table.
Okay.
and that was really cool. And like there's one and like that one's like even excessive because like he made like a handle where you could adjust the speed on it. It was just a stick that hit the trigger at different ways to adjust the speed. And so one was just a stick, but then he was like, no, I got to re-engineer this. And he like got out his lathe and made like all kinds of like different like complicated like screw motions and stuff, or it was like evenly adjust the speed and stuff like that. And like, this is amazing. And all the stuff he does where he's making tools for his lathe. Or he's making a box for all his lathe tools. And when he does it, he can build stuff. He's been doing it for decades, so he knows how to do stuff really fast. So when he called it a one day build, it seems like if you yourself can't build it in one day, it feels like you're failing. But like he has every fucking tool available, and he's done this forever. So a one day
build for a 30-year pop maker.
But it does give you confidence. Like, I think I could do that. It's like, now I got to get like a $250 brad nailer. You got to start getting plywood and realizing that, even the shit plywood that is really expensive.
I've got to get an old-fashioned lathe and rebuild it.
Yeah. Yeah, he has a lathe he got from China, which doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing, because guess what? All the tools to make things in China, some of them are pretty good if you know what you're getting.
Yeah, I mean, Bridgeport and all those lathe, they just sold all those dies and sets to China. It's like, yeah, they're just making Now, the problem with China, even though when they buy our tools and you get stuff from there, is the metallurgy you got to watch.
Yeah.
It's like the only different, because anyone can put anything together off of a blueprint. It's when you start making it out of like, oh wait, this is supposed to be like D12 tool steel, like hardened steel. Oh, we're just making it out of steel, just regular unhardened, not or maybe what do they call that? Flame hardened, like surface hardened. It's not hardened all the way through. It's like, well, that could lead to problems later.
We're using annealed steel.
Yep.
But yeah, like he had like an old lathe, and there was like, he got an aftermarket DRO, which just means digital readout. So it's like, here's your 0 and you're moving this far, so you can get very exact movements. Because usually on the lathe, even if it's old, that's the screw that everything runs on is so accurate that it's like you can trust that. But still, even new stuff like that has its idiosyncrasies. If you want to get down to like 10,000th of an inch accuracy, you got to know your machine.
Yeah, you got to bump, tap, and roll. That'll get you 10,000ths. If you just bump, it'll be over.
Yeah, he got like an old set of micrometers, and like he didn't have to fix the micrometers. The box that came in, he had to fix the box, and there's even like, because the micrometers are kind of like this U shape, and like they get down to like an inch, up to like he had like a 2-foot micrometer, which is absurdly large.
Yeah, that's for making like marine service shafts for boats and stuff.
If you don't know what a micrometer is, it's just like this little thing. It looks like a U, almost looks like a clamp, but it'll measure down to the 10,000th of an inch. But they only work in 1-inch increments. So if you go beyond an inch, you need your 2-inch micrometer. They're incredibly accurate tools. You need even like a digital caliper and stuff like that, or your Starrett caliper. Like you can only trust it up to 1,000th of an inch. You can't trust it up to 10,000th of an inch, even if it's reading that. So,
we can get real basic and just. That's what I use for model building, because that's all in inches and metric on the other side. But yeah, but that's only good to like 1/8 of an inch or something like it. But that's all you need in model building. You're not.
Yeah. But anyways, because like it's a U shape, it means the other part of the box, it's empty. So he made like drawers to fit into that empty area, to have like more stuff he could fit in the box and be like more useful, and like everything's in one location. And like that was like a cool addition that you can just add shelves to things and stuff like that. And it's like, oh man, I think I can do that, but also no, I will fuck that up.
See, I'm always interested when I see people welding on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I need to. You can take classes all day long here at the community college. Like, you just welding 1, welding 2. And I keep thinking, yeah, I want to do that. And then I keep thinking, no, I don't want to burn my house down. So I'm always in and out on welding. It's like, man, that would be cool. But boy, it would suck when I finally burnt my house down.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do. And then it's like, what would I get into? What am I making out of heavy metal? It's like, where am I going to put this? How are we going to haul this around?
Yeah, it's like learning welding is also like having a truck. It's like you don't end up using it for yourself, but other people then need you to do things for them.
Yeah, I'm general purpose man now. Hey, Nate can weld. Then everyone comes to your house. I mean, I had to go weld at somebody's farm for my mower deck like 3 years ago. But he didn't care as long as I brought him a case of beer and did all the welding myself, which I did. So, That's how people are like, why does that Mara deck look so nice? That thing's like 25 years old. It's been replaced it's been fixed a bunch.
It's the mower of Theseus.
Yeah, it is basically I have the lawnmower of Theseus. Because I can't I paid $800 for that 20 some years ago. Have you seen what it costs to replace those? And I have to have a riding mower unless I want to just dedicate 4 hours every time I mow my lawn, which I'm not doing. So it's like I can't replace with a new mower. But unless the engine blows up in this, I should never have to. They should just drive this into my grave when I die because it's used like 50 hours a year. Like it shouldn't break down ever, but it does. And when it gets really dry here, sometimes it's used even less than that. So it's like my snowblower. I finally replaced that because I needed a self-propelled one because I'm old and fat, but people were like, "Oh man, how do you keep that Toro running so long?" I said, "It's used 4 hours a year. It's not like it's in constant service. You don't have to fight the shit." But yeah. So that's like welding and stuff. I was like, "Oh, I'd love to get into that. It looks like right up my alley." And then I'm like, "Yeah, but what am I gonna do with that?"
Yeah. I was listening to another podcast and they were talking about old man stuff, and the thing they were talking about was generators, and like I never knew this, but like one guy it's a generator built in the house, but it's a natural gas generator, so you can turn it on to power the house in case electricity goes out. So as long as the natural gas keeps running, you can run your house.
I'm ready for the apocalypse. It's like, well, natural gas is like a complex product to make and pressurize the line, and oh shit, I'm not ready for the apocalypse. Now, home antimatter matter annihilation to produce energy, then you will be apocalypse proof, at least when it comes to having electricity. However, it requires a few steps.
Oh yeah, there was this funny article. I think I sent it to both of you, but it was funny. It was basically about billionaires that are like prepping for a potential apocalypse or upheaval. Yeah. And there was like only one guy where it would work. He's like he's like running like underground farming and stuff like that, and had like farm without like a world infrastructure and stuff like that.
A lot of mushroom farming. Yep.
Yeah. And like his whole thing, and then like he's like training with like these Navy SEAL guys on how to shoot, and like he's basically got like contracts with them where it's like if something goes to hell, you can bring your family here, because basically this guy figured out really the only way to survive an apocalypse is to have friends.
Yeah.
And all the other billionaires are like, can we get an automated security team so I don't have to pay a guy that'll probably kill me for all my stuff?
Yeah, I was gonna say, once that whole veil of the social contract is torn asunder, the professional killers won't see you as an asset anymore. It's like, well, you don't have anything for me. Now I am the king of the castle.
So it's like they're investing in AI and stuff because they wanted like automated defense systems, so they don't have to trust people, and they just want to build a secret harem or whatever.
Yeah, this is gonna work out beautiful.
And that was that was every other billionaire that they thought that way. It was only the mushroom guy that knew how to like actually survive the apocalypse.
Yeah, don't cut your finger because you'll die from. Don't have a tooth infection or a tooth go bad. You'll die from that. Most common way people died during the Middle Ages, other than the Black Death, was oral infections. Huh. So get all your teeth pulled, get dentures.
Well, even then,
can't really store antibiotics. I don't even know how you could manufacture them. Really, what I'd want is like those walking dogs, but they are the size of the garbage truck, and they have like Bill and Mark 12s on either side that just kind of gimbal back and forth. It's like no one's going to mess with you for a while with those things under control. People aren't going to want to fight that. It depends on what, because really an apocalypse, like even if it's a nuclear war and it's like you're living in a place where you weren't irradiated or affected by bomb damage, it's just gradual decay. It's not the sudden removal of everything. It's just a gradual decay of infrastructure till you're beyond the point of functioning. And getting rid of sewage is like your number one concern. Where are you going to put all the shit? Because you got to put it somewhere where it doesn't poison you, where it doesn't get in the drinking water.
Well, I think there was an article where it's like this is kind of a general apocalypse readiness, but I think the whatever some statistician ran, the most likely one is just upheaval, where basically like all the peasants are going to revolt and kill all the billionaires. It's like that's the most likely scenario. Or that's the first likely scenario.
Yeah, and see, these guys are training with Navy SEALs and building mushroom farms, but all their antagonists need is gasoline. Like that is literally, they would just burn you out of whatever you're in, and just wait. Like, you know how you kill fire ants, you pour kerosene on the mound and just light it on fire and just watch them run out. It's the same concept. You know? You're just waiting for these guys to, like, eventually they'll burn or die of smoke inhalation or run out, and then we can shoot them. It's like, what about rebuilding civilization, Earl? Well, we'll get to that. That's in the Bible. Great. I'm glad we had this big revolution and we're going back to the Bible. Going back to, Levitical law. That's what's going to make it work for us. Because unfortunately, those are the only people willing to fight in the revolution. Except you're like Marxists, but they're all in the cities, so... Are there any country Marxists? Any guys? Yeah, I've never heard of those.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think communism seems like a big thing out when you're relying upon yourself, supposedly out in the sticks or some shit. So I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure there's a guy who's like really into guns and Karl Marx, and he's living on a potato farm somewhere, and I'm sure you could find that one weird outlier.
Just like, I like to be alone, but I really want to lift up the people too.
Yeah. I want to work in solidarity yet apart.
Separate, but equal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. That's where Mao. That's where wasn't that where Mao, didn't he want to kill all the farmers because they were against the revolution or something like that? Like if anyone was denounced as a rich farmer, they were just basically hung.
Yeah, a lot of those like revolutions in that area. There was a lot of like, we need to kill all the smart people. We need to kill all the farmers. It's like, wait, who are we saving?
Yeah. Who are we gonna have left? Just NASCAR fans? What kind of country are we gonna make here? We gotta kill them. Like who? And then who's gonna run the sewer plant, dude? I mean, come on, you gotta think about this.
No, we don't actually. Let's just kill everyone. Let God sort them out or something.
Kill them all. What happens when you can't make bullets anymore? I mean, you gotta address these concerns.
Well, until they can make bathtub diabetes medication, I don't think we're getting a revolution.
Hey, people are working on it as soon as it hits. I mean, you still have to have, a degree in bioengineering and a bunch of other shit to probably actually do it. But that's going to be, as long as...
I don't need that learning. Just get hands-on and I can do it.
Post a YouTube how-to video. I'm fine with that.
Just stick this in you. Let's see what happens.
First get your centrifuge. Oh, God damn.
Can we give it a less pussy name? The spinny wig.
Just put Bobby in the yard, make him spin around in circles real fast. That's good enough.
Yeah, I want someone to, like try to make a gas centrifuge out of a cement mixing, like on a job site cement mixer. Just reduce the gears, it'll go real fast. And you got like all this medicine being made in this thing that's wobbling around violently. And then you give it to the people with diabetes and they all die. It's like, well, we solved that problem one way or another. Either we were going to make a new kind of, whatever that's called. What's that stuff called? Penicillin, or no. What do diabetics take? Insulin. Yeah, we're either going to make a new kind of insulin or kill them all. I mean, most of the people that insulin-dependent diabetics are type 2, and if there's an apocalypse, like the pounds are going to start coming off immediately. You're like, you're not going to have that problem anymore because you're going to have the opposite problem.
I always remember that joke from Patton Oswalt where he's like, he was like worried about like being dependent on depression medication. It's like, what if the apocalypse happens and like I don't have my depression medication?
Yeah, that's. You gotta have all the bases covered. What if everyone I know and loves dies suddenly, and I don't have my depression medicine? I'm living in like the road world. or like finding a can of Coke is like Christmas, you know. It's just, like, yeah, I'm gonna definitely need some uppers for that. Well, you heard about I don't know which medicine it is, but it's something for diabetes, but it makes you real thin if you take a lot of it. I forget which one. It's one of the new ones. And now there's another kind of diabetic that needs that too, but it's not because they're overweight. It's because they have to have it, and they're like running out of it everywhere because everyone in Hollywood is now on this. And the problem is, if you go on it, I can't think of the name. It's one of them, one of the shit they sell. It's like heart medicine. You can't come off of it. If you're on it, once you're on it, you're on it. And it's like, oh, now that was a massive shortage because all the Kardashians are taking it or whoever. And it's like, yeah, what's the 5 years down the road? What's your insides going to look like just taking that to be thin?
I don't know,
That's
Nathan.
not-
Like, if they keep getting billions of dollars, I don't think they care. It's like,
Well,
being
they'll
thin,
care when their pancreas explodes. That'll affect life.
yeah,
Or maybe
but
they'll just have a
that
new
hasn't happened
pancreas.
yet. So, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true.
Or maybe they just have guinea pigs in the waiting, like they've been feeding it to like one of their assistants for the past 5 years, and like, well, they haven't died yet, so it's good for us.
Yeah, watch out for the Hollywood people with really hot assistants because it's like, oh, they're giving them experimental drugs.
Well, I'm just like, I'm baffled by like, all right, if all the Hollywood people are taking this insulin, like how many and how much do they need that it will affect the entire market? Because there's not that many like rich Hollywood people.
Apparently, it's a lot. I mean, this is just stuff I hear. I'm not like this.
Yeah.
I'm not reading this off of like the Harvard Med School website or something, but I have heard that like, yeah, a lot of these people that have dropped massive amounts of weight in the last year, it's all because of this drug. Which, because it was designed as a drug to help you lose weight originally, but then they figured out, oh, it's very good at managing diabetes too. So it's marketed as a diabetes drug, but there's a secret. It's designed to lose a bunch of weight, and it stays off. And it's like,
Wait, what is there like a name for this? Is there a drug where it's like this is the marketed purpose, but everybody takes it for a different purpose?
yes, exactly. Well, it was created. The government like put a bunch of grant money out about 15 years ago to make weight control medicine because all the weight control medicine they had before that worked until your heart exploded like a hand grenade. And it's like, okay, we've got to come up with another way. And a way of attacking this is the insulin in your body and how much fat you retain or whatever. And but yeah, so they invented like 5 different drugs, and 2 of them were just not. It's like, yeah, the knock-on effects of those are pretty bad. We can't use them. And there's 3 others, and they discovered, oh yeah, this really works great on diabetes too, and it's cheaper to make than actual synthetic insulin. And it's all for the because there's people that are born with it, and there's people that get so fat they get it. And I forget what the types are, type 1, type 2, something like that. But yeah, but essentially like 3 of the major drugs that are out now for
Type 1, you're born.
Yeah, you're born well. Okay, so it's type 2. You just fat yourself into.
It's the it's Mabley of diabetes.
Yeah. So like 3 of these drugs that are being marketed right now, by the way, they're also horribly expensive too, are basically were designed to make fat people really thin. But they also work really good with it. And I'm not, I can remember the name now, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get sued because I'm not offering medical advice here. This is what I've heard. This is what I've read. And it seems to make sense. It seems to jibe in a certain way. It sounds like this would happen. Just like how everyone's on basically some synthetic amphetamines to help them concentrate. Like all those drugs like Provigil and Adderall and all. It's like, yeah, that was invented for something else. But man, you really focus in like a laser beam on whatever you're doing. But yeah, it's for kids with like attention deficit disorder when actually it just releases chemicals into your brains that act like amphetamines, but they're not amphetamines. And so they just gives you hyper focus, but none of the like chewing your fingernails off and eating people's faces or whatever other people do on just regular old methamphetamines. This is a different kind.
What if you like those side effects?
They do. Well, they have methamphetamines available. You can't purchase them legally, but you can buy them.
Okay.
I mean, there is an answer. You know.
Asked and answered.
Yes.
Go down to your local alley, look for drugs.
Well, it's just like that, you
officer
know.
stops me. Why are you in this alley? I'm looking for drugs.
And it's just like
Everybody knows that's what drugs are.
they've made all these like, you know, we have like the Viagra and 1,000 different variants of that now. Well, now they got stuff for women that just drives their libido through the ceiling, but it's not like officially out yet. And it's like, oh boy, we're just going-
capitalism, not the drugs we need, but the drugs we want.
yeah. We were not curing cancer or anything, but we're making a 60-year-old woman as horny as a teenager. It's like, well, this is good. What could go wrong here? That's why they have a show called MILF Mansion now on one of the TLC programs.
Yeah,
Is that a fucking thing? Okay.
I this might be somebody. I was on another podcast I was listening to about wrestling, and the guy was talking about this, and I'm not sure if he was pitching this idea or if this is the real thing. But the idea is like, it was like a show where like you have the MILFs and they're dating like younger men. But the trick was that like all the men on the show are like the sons of all the ladies on the show.
Oh boy! Wow, let's just bring incest into the mainstream. And
Well, no, they're screwing other people's sons, but like that's the thing that's supposed to happen where it's like oh wait, wait, that's my son, and you're dating him.
and the rooms are real close together, and the walls are thin. So what you can hear, like one of the MILFs getting railed in the other room, like his son can listen to that. That sounds amazing. MILF Mansion is a show. Okay.
Wow, I can't.
Oh wait, no, now hold on. Now I'm getting.
Or is that a porn?
Yeah, hentai. I don't think that's the MILF Mansion I'm looking for. I think that's Japanese porn.
Is there something called like Cougar Island? Is there something like that?
I don't know. I'm just gonna look up MILF TV show because, like I said, I'm getting a lot of porn links. Animated, even. Wow, weird. No, now I'm just getting like porn stuff. So okay, maybe that's not real. Hopefully.
I hope it's not fucking real.
Well, like I said, we're just like introducing like incest adjacent entertainment into our homes.
Well, you know, because the stepbrother, stepsister, stepmom thing isn't dying for something. I don't understand how the fuck that became the most popular thing in the world.
Nathan, type in MILF Manor.
MILF Manor, okay.
Oh, it's classier. It's not mansion. Sorry. Fucking Jesus Christ. Welcome to MILF Manor, sir.
Oh yeah, new TLC dating show. Okay, there it is.
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, that's God damn it. Is there a trailer out already?
I'm sure. Thirsty moms lusting after young men.
Jesus.
Given me some curveball. I think it's my time to find love.
I was married for 14 years. I want to get a chance to do me a little.
Young men have much more energy. They think out of the box.
I want that.
Think out of the box in my box.
I am in this amazing, beautiful mansion here in Mexico. This is a perfect place.
They're
to
filming
find
it outside the
love.
country. There's got to be a reason for that.
Welcome. You're about to embark on an experience like none other. Let's go.
I have an extremely high libido. Is that too much saying I have an extremely high libido? Should I just
Okay,
subside
that
the
woman
high
looks like
libido?
she's had massive plastic surgery. The one that's
Ladies,
talking.
where's all the men at?
I'm ready to connect with somebody who doesn't really care how old I am. I will take over the city.
I'm just looking to have fun.
Okay, there's a shocking twist.
Here we go. What the hell?
It just got real.
Okay, and that's where it ends. So I'm guessing maybe you're right, Conlon. Maybe it's like their children that they have to date these other older women. Like I said, incest adjacent entertainment. Awesome.
Why would you want to not have incest entertainment that you have to search for? Why not just have it mainstream everywhere? That's the best way to have incest entertainment.
I mean, that's the thing, because I know everyone's dying to hear about my thoughts on sex and my sex life. So I'll just lay it out again like I have before. What's wrong with just normal sex between people? Why does it have to be weird and gross?
Technically, Nathan, that's all we know. This is normal sex between people.
Well, yeah. I don't do that with
To
a
a
TV
point.
crew behind me, though. It's like that's
Yeah, but like I don't know. Like these shows always like they always imply all the people have sex, but they're never filming it or anything like that. So it's like they want you to think that as soon as the cameras turn off, everybody's fucking. But like I just doubt that's ever happening. But of course you hear Hollywood. Of course you hear Hollywood stories or even like old like just on the road musician stories where it's like, oh yeah, I've had sex with 1,000 different people, and it's like.
Yeah, but no one has any photographic evidence of that, which is probably good. I mean, yeah, you're right. They have the dating shows and stuff, and it's always implied. But I think most people are just too full of antidepressants anymore to have sex
Well, in front of a camera.
in front of it. Well, most people don't do that in front of a camera. Trust me, I wouldn't. Want to, that sounds horrifying.
I'll do it in front of a camera, just not a crew. I don't want the crew there.
I want the light guys out, and then we'll be ready for action.
The sound guys get to stay though. I want those boom mics tickle at the top of my head.
Oh, actually, I don't want any sound guys. I want Foley stuff put in. Like strange effects, like don't concur with what's going on screen. It's like,
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
yeah, somebody blowing a slide whistle. Someone with a bag of like a leather bag full of corn chips, just crunching.
Banging on two coconuts together.
Yeah, beating metal pipes together and stuff. Breaking up like animal bones from the butcher. Like a crack.
Snapping celery in half.
Yeah.
Is the Steven Seagal movie?
It's called porn you can't watch. And it's not because the stuff going on screen is so horrible. It's because the sound effects destroy any chance of becoming aroused from this, because it sounds like breaking bones and just taking recordings from inside a slaughterhouse, just animals screaming like the bunnies when you shoot them and they're like and they run in a circle. It's just playing that over it, but it's like a really hot scene. It's like, what kind of porn is this?
Someone just pulling a wet boot out of like a half foot of mud.
Yeah It become real popular in Germany because they it's like there must be suffering or it's not good. But the people in the movie are just normally going about their business. But you just hear all these horrible sounds. Slaughterhouse gangbangs. What's that about? Oh, it's just a gangbang, but it's recordings from microphones planted all over a slaughterhouse, and that's all you hear. That's the only audio. You don't. You just watch people. That would just create serial killers. It's like, I can get off as if somebody's screaming.
Here's a simple hand job with the audio from botched eye surgeries.
Oh shit! Get the gauze. Get the.
Here's a blowjob set to dental drills. Yeah, that's our new genre, suffer porn.
Someone's gonna suffer. It's probably gonna be the viewer.
Yeah.
No, only the person participating and watching it suffers, not the participants in the actual movie.
Yeah.
No one was harmed making this, but all people are harmed watching.
Only you are harmed in the making of this.
Yeah, the disclaimer at the front of the video. First off, all the actors are of age. Get that out of the way. And second of all, only you will be. This will give you the weirdest ideas about sex you've ever had. Squelching sounds of the floor of a slaughterhouse will make you aroused in the future if you watch this.
You just hear a man's spine pop out of place and get an erection.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like a paramedic working like trauma at a massive car scene. You're just walking around like I could Got to like fold it in your leg. Like I don't know why I have this massive erection. Ugh. Dark fetish. Or no, sound fetish. Yeah, everyone's into the sound stuff. Women humming. What's that called? AMR.
ASMR.
Yeah. This is like to the next level of that.
The level no one asks for.
No, nobody asked for this.
No, I think I found this on for the show like 7 years ago. But the funnest one was described porn.
Oh yeah.
Where it's just like porn for blind people, where it's like click the video and then someone's describing what's happening in the porn video. And it's always
Even
like
better now. You get a bad bot to describe it. Like just have a bad robot voice.
Oh yeah, I switched my Alexa to the Australian voice, and like they don't have that together yet, so that's fun.
Just heavily modulated Australian accent.
Well, it's fine, but like one of the common phrases that gets used is like, "A package has arrived," and like for the Australians, like a package has arrived.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they're using L's instead of R's in arrived. Because I heard there was a trick that if you switch it to Australian or New Zealand, which I didn't see New Zealand as an option, you would get less.
Is that
like,
a different accent?
Yeah, slightly. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
I mean, it's hard for us to tell, but if you put an Australian and a New Zealand next to each other and tell them you can't tell the difference, they will both be angry at you.
You're going to end up getting punched from people with subtly different terms for things. Okay.
I heard you like there'd be less targeted advertising because they don't have the library that the regular.
Oh.
But I found that not to be true. Like,
yeah, no, they are getting the voice right, but they're getting that advertising in.
Yeah, I heard like Alexa's like a big failure for Amazon because even though like I like the way it works and the way I can use it, which is basically just as an alarm clock I can yell at.
Yeah.
But apparently like they thought it was going to like just rake in the money, but it just absolutely hasn't. Because I even turned off the options. I never want to buy anything from Alexa, so please make that not possible. It is not possible to buy anything from my Alexa.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to buy anything through voice commands. Like I don't even want to call up a restaurant to give them a credit card number. So
yeah. I've never had one of those. Just my watch and my phone. It has. I'm not gonna say it because then it'll start going. It has that function, and I use that a lot. Like, hey, find me the nearest whatever thing, and it actually works. It does a good job.
yeah.
But then sometimes I'll look down at my watch and like, because I'll see stuff moving on the screen, and for some reason, unprompted, I see the whole conversation I just had. I was like, okay, wiretap, what are you doing? And it's not even bad stuff. It's like talking about like cooking ingredients or something. It's like, why is my watch taking dictation?
Sorry, I can't
See?
that on Apple Watch.
I didn't even say her name. So now we do this. You heard of this yet?
No.
This is if I'm trapped in rubble or an avalanche.
Okay.
So dogs can rescue me.
Until your watch battery dies from doing that, like every.
It actually tells you how long. I could do this on this watch for 3 hours. It actually tells you how long.
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of.
We
cool.
found him.
Yep.
He's dead. It's like, what happened? He killed himself in the ripple after that noise was kept going.
Well, you want to. I turn that on sometimes just to torment my dog. I guess it's tuned probably for dogs.
Yeah.
Because my dog goes nuts when I do that. In random parts of the house, she'll come running in. Like, who's trapped under rubble? Like, no one. No, my wife and son got me the crazy Apple Watch for my birthday. So this is the one that like I could go deep sea diving or climb a mountain. All things that I'm never going to do. But... Oh. All right, guys. Well, I'm done. If you are,
Google Meet is like playing the music to call us off stage.
yep.
So
So anyway, this 6 months for the American Greed Factory podcast. This is Nathan.
this is Conlon.
Andrew.
Goodbye, America.